bit and see if anybody comes in. Hello. I'm just gonna share this on Facebook real quick. See if anybody else wants to join. Hello. How's it going? Alright, sorry guys, I'm just posting something real quick. Alright. Just gonna take some stuff apart for a few minutes, see if anybody else joins. And if you guys have any questions, go ahead and feel free to ask. Ask away. Don't mind me, I'm just going to be breaking stuff in the background. Do a little IEM ASMR. In stereo. Alright. Whoa! Pop that off. Hey, my autofocus is working. Look at that. Oh my god, it's a miracle. What? I don't have to hit the button? Ooh, and it's fast, too. Oh, nice. Nice, it's great when stuff works. Alright, let's take apart some earphones. Hope everybody's having a good New Year's. Oh, is it failing me? What are we focusing on? Hello? If I tap on it, will it? Oh no, you're failing me. You're failing me, phone. Alright. Hello, person number 4. I really need to get some music in these things. I think from now on I'm going to start doing music. Put music in the videos. All you guys hear is my little vent fan in the background. Oh, come on. There we go. Got it. Got-y. Alright. I don't know if you guys saw my post yesterday, or I think it was it today? No, yeah, it was today. I posted it before work. But so this is the camper Joyful 1-in-1, and it's got the same dynamic driver as the heart mirror, which is not a good thing normally because the price is like $100. It's like $100. So really, what are you paying for? But with the sale price being $22, you're pretty much getting good quality sound. It's not tuned like the heart mirror. And I just killed that connector. Dun, 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 dun. There's our little BA buddy. Did I get in on it close enough? I mean, you guys can barely see that. Come on. It says HVEK, I think. Oh, you are failing me, camera. It's focusing on my skin. If I put it like right on my hand. There we go. 30095. How many have I cracked open? Oh god. Oh man. Here, you want to see? I'll show you. And this isn't all of them. This is just a few. Yeah. Sorry, I just gotta grab my little bin. Alright. This is how many I've cracked open. And there's more. These are just the ones that are not resin. So these are like the plastic ones. See, like we got a couple of plastic IEMs in here. Got some metal shells. The problem is when I crack open IEMs, the resin ones, they just, you know, they fall to pieces. You know, they don't. It's not like I can really glue them back together. Although I was kind of sentimental about the soft ears volume, so I glued all the pieces that I found around my room together to make like a partially open, like dissected IEM. I don't know, I just thought it was kind of funny, but yeah, so I got a bunch in here. If I were to take a guess, I'd probably say like 50, maybe. At least 50. But yeah, quite a few. People might say it's a waste of money, but they gotta remember I do it for my own personal enjoyment. And to share it with you guys, but also I harvest the drivers. So, but it is starting to get to the point where it's like same old, you know, just old dog, new tricks or whatever. It's like once you've seen so many IEMs, you've kind of seen them all. What is this thing focusing on? I don't know what it's focusing on. But yeah, so you get into so many of them, and then you just kind of start getting bored of it. So, but there are quite a few still that I would like to take apart. Oh, the Zen driver? Yeah. Zen driver is cool, man. Actually, I have them sitting right here. I want to take, so I already took this one apart. You can see from the busted up job I did, like trying to cut a wedge into the shell. And it still works. I put it back together, but the way they have these built, they have the whole thing. Like there's no volume of air inside the shell. Like the entire shell is entirely driver, except for like this little itty bitty, like you see this little bump right here. Like that is the only portion inside the shell that has air. There's no gap. There's literally no gap between the back of the driver and this faceplate here. So literally it just goes out from the vent and it goes through this little kind of like port system. It's supposed to be like a series of like microscopic, not microscopic, but like tiny tubes. And then it vents out this back grill here. But as far as the volume of air to shell, there's like none. So when I put the driver back in the shell, I didn't fill it up with enough glue, and so the tuning has changed just slightly, and it's enough to annoy me. So I figured, okay, well, if that's the case, then I'll take this one apart. That way I can show off the driver again, and hopefully I won't kill it, and then I'll just put, oh, this is annoying. Anyway, then I'll, reinstall it and do what I did to this one, and hopefully they'll sound the same. Because I didn't touch the driver, like the driver's fine. I mean, it sounds identical in every way except for just a little bit of variation in the tuning. And that's because I had to throw away, so the old glue that they used is like some really tough stuff. And once it comes off, you can't reuse it, so I had to throw it out. But yeah. But yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. The only reason why I was able to do that is because I had Dunu's old rep hit me up, and he was like, "Hey man, I really like your videos." He was like, "We have a Zen that somebody returned because they were having issues with the cable or something," and he was like, "I'd love to see you take it apart." I wish I would have done more with it, but it's an odd size of driver. It's like 14.5 millimeter, and I don't really have any other shells I can stick it in. And I didn't want to just like buy a shell off AliExpress and then throw in a $900 or $700 driver into a $20 shell. So I figured one of these days I will design a shell in CAD specifically for that driver, and then I'll make my own little Dunu Zen. But another cool thing is, so you see how they stick together like this? That's purely from the magnetism of the drivers. There's not a magnet inside these that hold them together. That is literally 100% the magnetism that's inside the dynamic driver itself. But they just arranged them in such a way where they stick together perfectly. And because since you have them, since you have them like this, when you put them around your neck or whatever, they stick together like that, and then you can just pull them off your chest or whatever, pop them out and stick them in your ears. So it's a really neat design, so they don't go like flopping around everywhere. It's just one of the cool aspects of having a super crazy magnet in your IEM. If you guys are wondering what I'm doing, I'm salvaging parts here. I'm taking these face plates and I'm taking the wood pieces off, like I'm taking the resin off the wood, because I'll reuse these for my own IEMs. Here we go. So here's a shell that I need to clean up, and what I'll do is I'll take the wooden piece. Oh, maybe I can make it focus. So yeah, so I'll take the wooden piece and I'll glue it to the back, and then I'll just go around with my Dremel tool and make it fit, and then I'll pretty much do like I did to these, and I'll put resin over it and make them look nice. This is if anybody's curious, this is the Neon 4. These are a buddy of mine. I told him I was gonna send him to him Friday, but I'm getting my ass whooped this week. I'm really busy at work, so I'm gonna wait until Monday or Tuesday when I actually have time to go down to the post office and send them to him. And he sent me. He lives in Australia. He sent me. I was talking to him about Australian foods, and I mentioned Tim Tams and was it Tim Tams and Vegemite, and he sent me a bunch of Tim Tams, and he sent me like some Vegemite crackers. They're actually not bad. I like them. I ate all the crackers myself, but I have a bunch of Tim Tams sitting in my living room. Do I have any piezo drivers? Yes, I do have some piezo drivers. Give me 1 second and I'll show them to you. I don't have too many. Sorry, I'm doing this off camera. I don't have too many, but I have a couple. Man, I really buggered this one up. Sorry, I'm not really paying attention to what I'm doing. I'm just kind of doing stuff. Oops. Oh well. Whatever. You win some, you lose some, I guess. Alright, let me... Sorry, I'm just going over here to the parts bin. Piezo. I just had them. Here we go. Okay, so there was it's kind of an obscure IEM now. The guy that owns the brand, or like he's like the representative for the brand, he's made a couple posts about IEMs that he's releasing, but the word is like really sparse. But he made the shoot, what is it called? Hold on, let me grab the box for it real quick. This one, the Geekwold, the GK10. So it's a balanced armature, 2 piezoelectric, and then 2 dynamics. So he made this IEM, and I really liked it. This had tons of like quality issues, I guess, but yeah, I actually liked it. Mine were perfect. Like the channel balance, everything was perfect. But I had like one of the very first units. But anyway, these are from that there, and these are 8mm piezo ceramics. I have a crap ton saved in my... Oh, come on. Really? You gonna do that to me? Hello? Focus. Yeah, so anyway, I have a whole bunch saved in my AliExpress cart, but they're not made for IEMs. It's like really hard to get some that are actually like usable, I guess, for IEMs. But these are, so they call it 2 piezoelectrics. It's kind of a lie. It's a double-sided, so it's got an element on that side and it's got one on the other side, and that's basically what they are. So they are technically 2 piezo, but they're not. And then I have, I'll show you one more. I have these. I haven't touched them yet because I haven't had the time. They're really cheap, but I figured I could use them in something. But yeah, so these are 13, I think 13.2mm dual piezo and graphene coated dynamic driver. So yeah, and so I have these, but I don't have a shell to put them in really. Well, I did buy one, but when I got it, I saw it wasn't really good quality. So, I mean, these were like $4. They're cheap as all hell, but if I'm gonna put them in something, I want to make sure it's a decent shell. But EQ, EYZ, Senfer. You asking like the IEM when I was talking about the IEM earlier? Yeah, you remember the hype. Like everybody was talking about it. Like it was super big, and I guess they sold a bunch of units. Like they sold a few thousand of them or whatever. But then like right after they released them, people started having complaints about the tuning, which they having all those drivers and being like a budget because it was $50. That's one reason why everybody was freaking out, because you get two dynamics, you get a balanced armature and two piezo for $50, which is like unheard of. But the dynamics were good. They're cheap, but they were good. They were good drivers. Hey, Happy New Year, Dale. B Dale. Happy New Year to you too, buddy. But yeah, then they started having all these like quality concerns and quality issues, and people were having dying units and stuff. So it just kind of took a crap after that. What do you mean by Critical dislikes most of them? Like dislikes most piezo IEMs? Because yeah, I totally understand why. It's the timbre is like really really weird. Um, they have a good timbre, or like a good attack and decay, but only at a very small frequency range. It's like somewhere in the neighborhood of like 5 to 7 kilohertz. Like that's the only area where they really have like a nice punch to them, and just like this zing. I don't know how to explain it, but the way it hits your eardrums, man, it's like getting punched in the head. And I could see if somebody tuned them properly, like they would sound good. But like using piezos for treble and stuff, nah, they sound weird. Um, and then you have I would consider this to be like the stepbrother or like the cousin to piezo, and these are the what do you call it, the magnetostat drivers. Totally different principle, like how they operate, but similar sound. The only thing is these are a little more flexible, and you can actually use them for upper treble. They actually do pretty well at upper treble. But you really have to be careful with how you tune them. And in my opinion, these are all out of KZ IEMs, by the way. But in my opinion, the only useful application for these are in like a hybrid, and you just use them just a little bit, because what happens is they have kind of like a scratchy timbre to them, and they can be a little bit sharp too, and a little aggressive, so you got to be pretty careful with how you tune them. Not nothing like Sonian electrostat. They're not, they're like, this is like the poor man's electrostat, and when you listen to the two, you can definitely tell the difference. The Sonians, they do the same exact thing. They have the same problems. They operate completely differently, but they have some of the same shortfalls. But they're just useful enough that you can get you can get some really really good performance out of them, with not like too many crazy techniques. But they're like wicked expensive, and these are like several like times cheaper, like orders of magnitude cheaper than the Sonian electrostats. You guys want to see something cool? Let me find it real quick. Are you guys familiar with the what the hell's the name of it? It's the Canera IEM that's got the 1DD, 1BA, 1EST. Somebody help me out. My brain's farting out. Starts with an M. Give me 1 second. Now I gotta find it. Here it is. Here we go. Alright. This guy right here. Can somebody tell me what the name of this is? I feel so stupid, but I can't remember what it's called. Here, let me see if I can look it up real quick. Canera. Nana, no. Hodor, that's what it is. I'm sorry, it starts with an H. My bad. Excuse me. Sorry, after I talk for a little while, I'm like shouting at work all day, so I'm starting to lose my voice. But here, let me get this stuff out of the background because I know what's happening here. It's focusing on the background because it's high contrast. All right, so yeah, these guys right here. So this is the Hodor. That's all right. It's fine. It's okay if you don't know Caneras very well. My brain was farting out, so I couldn't remember. Anyway, Canera sent me these, and they are a prototype of the Hodor. This is actually before they released them, and interesting. They have two vents here. It makes sense when you think about it. When I looked at it, I was like, "What the hell? Why have they got two vents?" One is the inner cavity for the dynamic driver, and the other one is the actual shell cavity. So, but yeah. But anyway, you go, well, how do they fit a dynamic driver, electrostat, and yeah, Hodor. Yep. Yeah, my brain's farting out. But yeah, so how do they fit a dynamic driver, a BA, and an electrostat in an IEM this small? I mean, they're tiny. They're like, it's like a little bean, compared to my pinky. It's like super tiny. Well, anyway, they are basically a more refined and more expensive version of like the KZ slash KZX Critical IM that he had. And sorry guys, I'm trying to find, here we go. Alright, so here's my batch of drivers that Canera sent me. And here are a couple prototypes for the Celeste Gamiho. So I printed these out on my printer. we were playing around with the ergonomics, trying to figure out what was a good shell length or nozzle length, because when I received the first prototype, it was a little short for my ears, so we had worked on extending it. But anyway, what I was getting at is, so the drivers that I was showing you earlier, man, I'm just all over the place. So the drivers I was showing you earlier, these little like magnetostat drivers from KZ. Basically, the one in Hodor is just like a what do you call it? It's just like a fancier version. So there's a dynamic driver underneath, and then you have the magnetostat. In other words, electrostat driver. Yeah, they are. They're super small. They're well, they're not super small. Like, so it's a 10mm driver with the electrostat, but they're really shallow. Like, this alone is just barely deeper than a normal dynamic driver. So here's a, God, this focus is driving me nuts. Sorry guys. But yeah, so you got a 10mm driver, and then you have this electrostat slash dynamic combo, and I mean, it's just barely taller than it. But yeah, so anyway, this is what was in the prototype, and then essentially what they did is they went and created their own. So this is Canera's actual driver. So this is what's in the real thing, and I guess they just tweaked it a little bit. But from what I know, I think it's a graphene coated driver, and then it's the magnetostat. But and then these are also, so these drivers right here. Apparently, I guess the magnetostat is made by TDK. They do like a bunch of magnetic stuff. They used to make like tape for reel-to-reel machines and stuff. But anyway, anybody, if you guys are familiar with the Shure tape or the Shure tape or like the Tape Pro, these are the drivers that are inside those IEMs. And I even have a Tape Pro sitting here somewhere, but I haven't taken it apart because I'm trying to save the driver inside. But yeah, so these use the same drivers. Why do they need a transformer? It's for biasing. It's kind of hard to explain, but if you were to how do I explain it? It's a mismatch in impedance. Like they don't require a lot of like amperage or milliamperage. They require a high voltage, and so you need to essentially change that amperage into voltage, and you have to transform it in order for the driver to be able to use it, or else it's not going to perform the right way. So you're not going to get any sound out of it, basically. And also it's not going to be compatible with like normal IEMs. So like in hybrids, I'm trying to think of how to explain this. So in hybrids, when you're making a hybrid, you need to match all the various, oh, come on. Let's see if I can get it. So you need to match all the here, maybe I'll just do it down here. All the various components need to be matched based on their sensitivities. And the reason for that is, so say I have a BA that's 32 ohms, and I have a EST that's 32 ohms. This is all hypothetical. And say my dynamic driver is 16 ohms. So when I put sound into this IEM, and it's not necessarily going to be twice as loud, but the dynamic driver is going to be much louder than any of the other drivers because they have double the resistance. And then there are two different types of measured resistance. So you have DC, or impedance is another word for it, but you have DC impedance, which is basically just positive and negative. It doesn't alternate at all. It's just straight direct current going into a driver. So they measure the impedance that way. And then you have AC impedance, which is basically they measure how much resistance the driver is putting on the electrical circuit as the waveform is traveling through it. So you could have a driver that's very sensitive when it comes to bass, and it makes huge waves. But then when you put treble into it, it just makes a little teeny tiny baby wave. And manufacturers, they track, and IEM designers, they track that curve and they plot it out. So when you're making a hybrid, by the time, yeah, Tesla versus Edison. So yeah, by the time your one driver starts coming down on its curve, like as far as sensitivity goes, your other driver's picking up wherever it left off at. And every single driver has its own bespoke resistance curve or impedance curve. So anyway, so you need to properly match them. And that's another reason why they put the transformers inside the electrostatic drivers, because if they didn't, you couldn't match them with any driver. You would literally have to build your own transformer to power them, because the output from your little, from like one of these is not going to be high enough voltage to power the electrostat drivers. So, but yeah, so this is the SPD here. It's kind of a neat little driver. I want to see the SPD 2.0. I think I'm gonna buy Pandemon. I have the Jianwu. I don't know. I kind of wanted to take it apart. Has a metal nozzle. You guys want to see what BA is inside of it? If you do, I'll take the BA out. I don't necessarily want to take them all the way apart, but if you guys want me to take them apart for you, I will. I'll take them most of the way apart. And also, if you have any questions for me, shoot away. I don't know if you guys have any questions. But yeah, so I need to take... Oh, I was in the middle. I was going to show you guys. I was in the middle of doing this before I started the live stream. But this is the tin Hi-Fi T3 driver. And I was getting ready to measure it on my rig. So... But yeah, let me know if you guys want me to take the Jianwu apart, and let me know if you want, if you have any questions or anything. And while you're doing that, I'm going to plug in my soldering iron so I can start soldering leads to this. I'm gonna grab a drink too while I'm at it. Anybody here? Oh, I was gonna ask. Any of you guys here have any interest in headphones? Is there anybody here that's like a headphone fan or knows anything about headphones? KZZX Pro. There's not much I can say about it. I don't actually have any here with me. I just gave my pair away to a friend. Yeah, it is probably building. So the Zex Pro is the same thing as the CRN. It's the same thing as the Clinical collab that he did with KZ. And but he took his name off of it, so they can't sell it basically like with his name on it anymore. It's not a bad IEM, and it doesn't have any fake drivers in it. All the drivers are real and they all work, but they're just not tuned very loud. And so for some reason in people's heads that was the same as like not working, which is really retarded because after all, you buy the earphones for the enjoyment. So even if there's a couple extra speakers in there that don't really change the tuning too much, they change other things, you know, timbre, technicalities, stage, width, height, depth, stuff like that. Do I believe in BA timbre? Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, it's 100% real. Timbre is a function of like texture. Okay, so it's like this paper that I'm feeling here, okay, versus like a shag carpet or the clothes that I'm wearing. It's a texture of sound, and every driver has its own bespoke sort of texture. So, but it's kind of hard to explain. You have macro details and you have micro details. Macro details reside more in the lower frequencies, like your bass, your low mids, and your mids, and then your micro details exist kind of in your like upper frequencies. But anyway, what I was getting at with that is certain drivers exhibit certain like flavors of sound. The problem is describing timbre to somebody is kind of difficult. You can look 9 a.m. in Paris. Hello, hello. Happy New Year. Have you opened sets with fake drivers? No. That's the thing. I have not had any sets, and I've taken apart a lot of KZ sets, even before they started sending me sets. I've taken apart you know, maybe 20 kz sets before they start, or maybe not that many, maybe like 10 or 15 before they even started sending me some IEMs like in the mail. And I've tested pretty much every single driver I have. I could show you guys. I mean, I have like so many KZ drivers. It's not even funny. Like just sitting in front of me, I have all these KZ dynamic drivers, and these are the ones that I didn't like throw away, you know, or use in a different project, or just destroy and end up, you know, going in the landfill. Because I don't keep every single driver. Some of them I damage, or I just take them apart for fun, just to see if there's any difference between them, in like maybe an older revision. But yeah, I mean, I've tested so many of them, and it's as simple as just disassembling the IEM and leaving all the wiring intact, and I can just plug the drivers straight into my rig here. So I have my coupler, and right now I have a special like little tube on there, but anyway, but yeah, I just plug in the drivers and I test them real quick, make sure they're all working, and sure enough, every single time I've ever tested them, they've always worked. The only, okay, so, oh, well, I will say this, there's one exception, and it's not that the drivers didn't work. Well, it is, okay, the DQ6 is a difficult animal. There are two revisions. There's the DQ6 and the DQ6S. The DQ6, for anybody that's not aware, it's a 3 dynamic driver IEM. It has 2 6mm and it has one 10mm. And I actually have the 6mm right here, because these are part of the controversy right here. So these little 6mm, these are from the DQ6, okay? And so essentially what happened is KZ, or whoever designed the IEM, they had the drivers come out. They're suspended in like a 3D printed piece of plastic, and then that plastic piece is glued onto another piece, and there's like a tube where the sound is supposed to travel through and into the 10mm and then out the nozzle. And I think that KZ knew about it, but they just didn't do, you know, because what are you going to do? They didn't change the tuning or nothing. But anyway, anywho, the 10mm driver, when you put it inside the IEM, you have to glue it shut, or else air is going to leak out and you're not going to have any bass. So when they put the glue around the driver, it blocked the little tube that was coming from the two 6mm drivers. And then there was another issue where when they attach the faceplate to the IEM, there are 2 screws that touch the metal terminals, or like these little like solder terminals on the back of the drivers. So they had somebody go in and physically cut the terminals off of the dynamic driver. Only 2 of them. And so they weren't functioning. So the sound couldn't even get through if they wanted to. And then on top of that, the drivers, the connectors or whatever, you know, the solder pads, they were cut. So you couldn't even wire them up if you wanted to, because they were the ones that went into the drivers. Like, see where this little blue area of glue is? That's where the wires travel and then go inside the speaker to the voice coil. So anyway, so they had cut that. And in the next revision, in the DQ6S, they had fixed the issue where they had cut the things, but they still had issues where the glue was blocking the tube. And even with the revised tuning and all that, they didn't go ahead and fix that. They just left it alone. And I don't know if it was on purpose or if it was on accident, but what they did is they wired up the drivers in such a way where the 2 6mm drivers would not make any sound. So they wouldn't make any sound. They were wired in properly. So I discovered that if you were to clear the glue and then rewire the 2 6mm drivers, they would indeed work. Like, they're 100% real. They're not fake. Even the ones that they had cut the terminals off of, were all real drivers. But yeah, so the DQ6 and the DQ6S were the two models that had drivers that were not working inside of them. And it was really kind of a shame. And I didn't mean to call KZ out. Like, it's good that people know about that stuff. Like, they need to know if they're buying something or if they're paying more money for something that isn't working. But like, I didn't realize it was going to bring on a whole hate train for them. But yeah, that was the one model of IEM from KZ that had drivers that just legitimately did not work, either because they weren't wired up properly, or the path was plugged by glue and you just couldn't hear the sound. But yeah, that was the one model. And every other model that I've tried, basically the other drivers are just either tuned very quiet, or they're not really being used like to their entirety. But anyway, they've fixed it now. The last few models that they've had, like the AS16 Pro and the HM20, it's not the same case anymore. So all the drivers are functioning. All right. So here we have our what is it? The tin Hi-Fi T3 driver, and I'm going to plug in my little thing here. You guys are going to hear the sound. Alright, just to show you what I'm doing here. So I'm just measuring the response of the speaker. And it's playing through this little guy right here. And then there we go. That is what the T3, the tin Hi-Fi T3 sounds like. It's an interesting curve. It's funky. Hey, ignore this like it looks completely foreign to you guys, I know. This is the raw driver graph. This is just how it would sound without being in like a shell. This is just the pure performance of the driver and all its little peaks and stuff. It's like resonances and whatnot. So that's all that is. So just kind of ignore that. But yeah, so anyway. And I want to... Now we got a couple 2DD on the way. Sorry. DQ6 was the first try out with 2DD. Oh yeah. Yeah, there's a bunch of IEMs. Well, the DQ6 was 3DD. It was two 6mm DD and one 10mm. But yeah, there's a lot of like one IEM I want to check out and perhaps tear down if I can afford it is the Penon serial. I would love to take the Penon serial apart and take a look at it because I hear it's really good. And so yeah, so I'd like to try that one out. And then the 3DT, the Unique Melody 3D Terminator. That one looks pretty cool. I have currently in development, I've been kind of lazy and I haven't touched it, but I have a 4DD IEM that I built, and it sounds decent. It's not bad, but I never got around to finishing the tuning on it, because at the time I didn't know as much as I do now about tuning. So I might get back to it. It's just a problem of having enough time to finish tuning it. But ideally, what I would like to do is learn how to make a CAD model of a IEM shell. Either that or maybe like pay somebody to do it for me, to make me like a shell, and then basically I can use that and make my own IEM, just print it out. But the problem is either finding somebody that knows how to do it, that's willing to do it for money, or to figure it out myself, and that's the hard part. There we go. Did I damage it? Did I break it? I can't tell. It doesn't look broken. You guys want to see this under the microscope? Let's take a look at the, I have my microscope right here. Say rotate device. Yes, I see that. All right, so here's my microscope. Let me open the app up real quick, and then I'll put this under the microscope, and you guys can see what it's about. What just dropped? Oh, that's what it was. Everybody having a good New Year's Eve tonight? Or good New Year's, I should say. Did you all have a nice New Year's evening? Did anybody get drunk? Kiss a girl and stumble home? Or is everybody chilling at home with their socks on, watching anime, looking at some bozo taking apart IEMs? Also, New Year's resolution. So I have a New Year's resolution, and that is to be more productive this next year. I really want to go hard on IEMs. Like, I want to make 3D printed IEMs and have them be like professional, like showroom quality, purchasable, and like easy enough to manufacture that I can sell them to friends and whatnot. Because man, last year I had so many problems with IEMs, it's not even funny. I mean, it's all a learning process, but it, like, for somebody that's just getting into it, it is not worth it sometimes. It's just, you put something together and then you hear it and it sounds like crap, or like the worst part, like my worst nightmare is building a pair of IEMs and having the channel balance be bad. That's like the worst, man. That's like the stuff of nightmares, because you put so much time and effort into assembling them, and then only to have one channel sound like different than the other, which happens way more often than you would think. If you guys wonder what I'm doing, I'm just adding some leaded solder to the back of this, so that way when I put it under the microscope it lays flat. Okay, there we go. put it under the microscope now. I'll take a couple pictures and I'll show you guys what I got. Wow, that is really weird. Jeebus. If you guys only knew like what these drivers look like close up, like putting them in your ears, you probably wouldn't want to put them in your ears, because there's some weird looking stuff under here sometimes. Let's see. Here we go. Here's the part with the wires. And then I'll just do this so we can kind of see the pattern. Anything else I could take a picture of? Yeah, this thing right here. What the hell is that? Yeah. Alright. Let me grab these pictures for you guys. I'll show you what they look like. I'm going to have to hold the camera up to the screen so you can see it, but they look really, really weird. Alright, here we go. Let me show you guys. Show you what this looks like. Alright, hopefully this stays in focus. Oh, alright. So this is that little guy right there. Oh, come on. You can't focus on that? What are you focusing on? It's going crazy, guys. Sorry, but yeah, that's the driver. But yeah, so here we go. This is it close up. And there's like this weird like white stuff like in the middle of it. It looks almost like it's like iced over. And here, here's the next one, and then there's like these little green bits that are like inside the driver. Okay, and you can kind of see the pattern of the material. Like, I don't know if they stamped it. I think it's a stamping process. So this has got to be like left over from the tool or something. And then we can just start seeing the surround ring, and then you see where the glue is, where they attach the voice coil. Let's get to the next one. And yeah, it's just all kinds of weird little bits of stuff. I don't know if that's... It can't be like moisture from your ear or whatever, because I've seen this on brand new drivers too. Yeah, so here's the surround ring, and then this little copper ring right here keeps the driver in place, keeps it sealed up, keeps it like airtight. And then here's where the leads or the wires go into the voice coil. So you can see they come off and they wrap down to the outside. And then here's a better shot where you can see the like the pattern in the diaphragm. And then whatever this junk is, there's like something else on the diaphragm. It's like, it looks like water, but I know it's not water. It's something to do with the manufacturing process. And then this weird little booger right here, this is part of the glue that they use for the wires. But yeah, let's see. Let me go back real quick. And I'll show you guys some more pictures. So this is the camper DD / heart mirror DD. And there's like a bunch of them. And my finger. And then you notice how the diaphragm looks, and then all of a sudden we get to this weird mess where it's that pattern again. Start seeing like these weird patterns. This is the blonde Z200 dynamic driver. It's very, very similar to the heart mirror, but it's got this weird, strange kind of like pattern to it. And you see it all over the dome there. And then that's the piezo close up. And then I started taking pictures of a bunch more. That's a LCP. Titanium, I think. That's the magnetostat, the M-stat driver that I was telling you guys about. And then biofiber. This is the K-Bear, what is it called? The sleep buds that they came out with recently. Shoot, what's the name of it? Oh, can I see it? Or the KB ear. Anyway, it's those little KB earbuds, little 6mm ones. This is the driver that's inside them. It's really, really flaky stuff. And then that is another titanium. That's supposed to be beryllium. So 6mm berylliums. CNT. I don't remember what that one was. And then that's another titanium. Yeah, they look like a bunch of eyeballs. Oh yeah, and then this guy right here. You see like the pattern in it? It's like a weave almost. It's really strange. I would love to see like inside the factory and see how they make these. Some of them are really rough looking. That's a wooden driver. Yeah, anyway. Enough of that. Why so late, man? Because I just got off work 2 hours ago. So I'm just kind of chilling. Getting back to home plate after the sun is up. New Year's Eve tradition in the city. No risk. Subway is free and running all night. Hell yeah, dude. Hello, Jeff. Hello, OT9, OT7. All right. What else can I do? Oh yeah. So let's look up at this. Look up this Woo dude. See what the Woo dude has. Let's see its secrets, and then I'll probably get going after this. I just watched Wasabi Paul's review on it, and he was saying that the Gumiho or whatever, the Celeste Gumiho, is better or more worth it than the TRN, which kind of made me happy because I had a pretty big hand in the Celeste. I mean, it wasn't too big. Canera did most of the work, but I did help them quite a bit with the tuning and just consulting on that. Actually, one of the reasons why I didn't review the Celeste or really make comments on it is because I got paid to consult them on it, and I didn't want it to be a conflict of interest. So that's one reason why I haven't been talking about Celeste IEMs very much. Oh no, I broke it. I popped it. Or popped it. Alright, what do we got in here? Okay, so this is not a Belzing. This is actually a E-Audio. This is what I suggested to Canera, but they didn't have them in stock. Now, I stick by the fact that I like E-Audio better than Belzing, but I will say that placement matters and tuning matters a lot, and I can tell that they definitely changed up the tuning. They're tuning this balanced armature much lower or more full frequency than we did on the Gamiho. So let's see if I can get this bad boy apart. There we go. All right, so there's the back. That's a pretty neat idea. Oh wow. Yeah, that's pretty ingenious. So they're using the back of the driver. They're using the back of the driver for their PCB and for the crossover components. Would you look at that? See that? That's pretty neat. So that's cool. And we can just barely make out the driver. You know what? I wonder if this is a revised driver, because those hole patterns are completely different. That is not like the Canera driver. You know what? Screw it. I'm going to take it all the way apart. I got my interest peaked now. I knew I bought these for a reason, because I saw that they were like, it looked in their pictures like it was the SPD 1.0. So well, I probably can't say this. I'll say this. There are two different versions of SPD right now that are out. And so you got the 1.0 and the 2.0. The 1.0 is the one that's being used in the Gamiho, and the 2.0 is the one that's being used in the Pandamon or Pandamon. So the difference between the two are the voice coils. So the voice coil is different in the 2.0 than the 1.0. It's still a coil. It's still a coil of wire, but it covers like almost the entirety of the driver, where the first one was just like a little coil that like kind of sat in the middle. So next time I'm going to see if I can just get this thing to sit in like manual focus. Oh, maybe I can't. Because this is annoying, guys. I'm sorry about the focus. This is one reason why I don't do live streams. Maybe I'll try a different device next time. Alright, trying to be careful. If you guys are curious who manufactures the SPD driver, it's actually Belzing that manufactures it. Which, good on them for making a new driver. I guess maybe they weren't making enough money with BA sales alone, so they had to change it up a little bit. What the hell, dude? Yeah, that is way different. That is weird. That is not the same driver. What the hell, man? No wonder they sound different than the Gamiho. So let me just show you guys real quick. This is the one in the Gamiho, and I'll show you the front. Okay, so this is Canera's version. Okay, you see the square, and then the SPD. And then you can see like the edges. So this is where the pressure vents out, where the sound emits from. And there's a magnet on both sides on the front, and then there are 3 more on the back. And oh, here we go. This is the one that I actually took apart. So this is the coil, the voice coil, or the coil of wire. And then those are the 3 magnets in a very interesting arrangement. So you have, oh come on, quit focusing over there. So you have north, south, and then south, south, north, north. So one of the magnets is flipped to the two others, so it creates these like poles at either side. And yeah, so the flux, like the magnetic flux, basically encapsulates this diaphragm here. It kind of like wrap. Oh, come on! I'm getting really fed up with this focus. But yeah, so it. Oh, Jesus Christ! You fucker. Anyway, so yeah, so it wraps around the diaphragm. But yeah, so that's the back side of the diaphragm. But anyway, and you can actually see through it. But yeah, so very much different than this one. So when we hold them up side by side, see the difference? The TRN only has 4 holes, and they're like little holes, and the edges are more rounded. So I wonder if this is licensed, if this is made by a different manufacturer. You know what? I bet they licensed this driver design, and it got copied, because this is not the same. This is not the same SPD driver. They use the terminology SPD. Yeah, and the way this front plate is fit, it's actually squished together where these are two seams, and they tack weld it. So they could do like a tack weld, and then same thing on the other side, tack weld, tack weld. Well, this is like a cap. So this whole top piece here gets pushed into a like a basket. So this bottom piece is like a basket, and then this top piece is like a cap, and it pushes down on it. So very interesting. I would be very curious to know. Yeah, and you can even see how they have the wires arranged. Oh, come on. So you see they're using like a glue, and there's a little cutout. Come on. Come on. There's a little cutout in the shell. Okay. There's a little cutout where the wires kind of fit into. And on the Celeste, anyway, so hard to see. But anyway, on the Celeste, oh, come on. There's a little, like a wide cutout, and the wires literally just fit through that. And then when you put the glue around the driver and you're seating it inside the IEM itself, that is what seals up the driver. Like, there's no glue beforehand. But yeah, so it's very interesting. Man, that is, that's pretty crazy. I'm going to post that on Facebook later. But, alright guys, I think I'm going to get going. I don't know, unless somebody has a question before I leave. Or unless you guys want to see something else real quick before I get out of here. Man, I'm so tempted to take this apart right now, but I really want to test it first. Yeah, I think I'm going to test it first, since it's the same size. Oh, I'll show you guys one last thing before I go. This will be fun. I'll show you this before I get out of here. But anyway, yeah, so you see how I have these 3D printed prototype shells for the Gumiho? Well, if I, let's see. Oh, can I get it out? Maybe not. There we go. So anyway, I have the empty shell. I can just stuff the TRN one inside, and then I can graph it that way. So I can actually see how well it performs in the same shell as the Gamiho, and that'll give me kind of a rough idea of the performance of the driver. If not, I would have to make like a little funnel piece that like goes over it and that I can use to attach to my coupler. That's the only crappy thing about the square design, is in order for me to use these in a pair of IEMs, I have to actually print out something to hold the driver and to funnel the sound into a tube. So, but anyway, let me grab this thing real quick and I'll show you guys some stuff. Oh, and eventually, let me, just while I'm thinking about this. So I have no, they're not bad drivers. No, they're not bad. The TRN version is not great. It's like a hybrid. It's just like a normal hybrid IM. Sounds like a DD. Hi John. What is your favorite sounding planar so far? Good question. I mean, my most recent, my best experience, I would say, is the KZ PR1 Pro. Just because that thing is a technical monster. It's freaking just a monster. But yeah, I haven't really listened to any of the high-end planars. I heard the what is it? The Tin Hi-Fi Big Panda or Large Panda or whatever it is. The P1 Pro. Is it P1 Pro? Or T1 Pro. Or T1 anyway. Sorry, my brain is fried. But yeah, that one was okay. It wasn't great. S12 and Hook, both terrific. Yeah, I heard they're really good. One of my subs said that they have a broken Hook X, and so I'm really thinking about making a PO box so I can like pay you guys, or like say somebody has a broken IM that they can't do anything with. I can pay you for the shipping and you can ship it to my PO box, and then I'll tear it apart here like on stream, or I'll make a video of it taking it apart, and then I can I'll post like pictures of it and stuff too, so you can see like what the internals look like. I don't know, I think that'd be pretty cool, and then it saves me money too, because I'm not like spending money on perfectly good IEMs and taking them apart. Instead, I'm taking apart broken IEMs, and I'm sure a lot of people have broken IEMs. Yeah, P1 Max. Thank you, Gallon. Sorry. Yeah, P1 Max. That's the one that's like, it's good. It's just boring. It's very, very boring. The timbre is very, I don't know, it's just like one note. Hook X is, yeah. Hits only in really low frequency. I heard that the piezo in the Hook X was used to fill in the gaps in the treble in the upper frequencies, but you're saying that it's used as a bone conductor? I don't understand why they wouldn't just use a bone conductor. Because the Hook X has a 9-layer piezo, and from what I know, piezos only operate at high frequencies. There's not like a low frequency piezo. So, but I don't know. I'll have to look at their marketing material and see what they say. OT9, OT7. Hey Jeff, does the tuning of an IM mainly depend on the shell's internals other than the drivers chosen? Yes, absolutely. Yeah, shell has a lot to do with tuning. The shape of how it like funnels the sound. So you see there's like a curvature there. The type of surface. So if it's like plastic, is it a smooth plastic? Is it a rough plastic? The internal volume. So just like a speaker would be inside a speaker box, same thing with a driver being inside an IEM or like inside a shell. The shell is essentially the speaker box. Okay, so it fills in the gaps for the driver's like deficiencies or whatever. And it's kind of hard to explain, but think of it just like a speaker. You know, you could have a woofer in your hands and it's going to make certain frequencies, but then when you put it inside a box and it has a chance to resonate inside that box, and the frequencies are able to reflect and bounce around and do their thing, it sounds like a completely different animal. And you could take the same speaker, out of like a loudspeaker, and you could transplant that speaker into several different cases or boxes or whatever. And each time that speaker would sound different, but then there are like underlying characteristics of that driver that will stay the same throughout all those different boxes that you have. But yeah, so let's see. But yeah, good question. Yeah, the shell definitely has a lot to do with it. That's why when I got my hands on the A-Full Performer 5, so I hit Hi-Fi Go up like right as this was coming out, and I said, hey, that's a really good design. Just from my own personal experience and like everything that I've done up until this point with IEMs and like analyzing other companies, I realized that this kind of technology is something that you only see in like higher end IEMs, like 500, 700, 1,000, like that. I've never seen the intricate tubing and whatnot being used in cheaper IEMs, especially this design. There's a company, Seventh Acoustics. Look up their IEMs. Basically, their IEMs are exactly like these, but I think more high end, more expensive. But yeah, so going back to the whole box or the acoustic portion of it. So I'm pretty sure the drivers that are used in this IEM are nothing special. They're cheap drivers, and for the most part, they kind of sound like they sound cheap. But the way they tuned it is just they took the the appropriate drivers and tuned them to the best of their ability, like of the driver's ability, and I think they nailed it. Like they took those drivers and squeezed every ounce of potential that they could out of those drivers. And so that's one reason why I really fell in love with the Performer 5, is just it, because it may not be like the best IEM, it may not blow away IEMs, like a couple times its price range, or even some that are like in the same price range, but it has certain character to it, and you can tell just from how flat everything is, how smooth the response is overall. Um, the frequency response, that is, not the timbre. But yeah, you can tell they did a good job, and that is all due to the acoustics and the insides of the shell, all the routing that they did with the dynamic driver, and then same thing with the mids. They have this like long tube, this massive tube that comes down from up here and then wraps around and comes out. And then of course they use the crossover to tie everything together. But yeah, so anyway. What would you recommend for $50 and $100? It depends. What do you prefer? Fun sounding? Do you want to really like focus in on the music? Like, do you just want the IEM for pure enjoyment? Do you want to hear all the different sounds and like really analyze it? Do you like rap? Do you listen to rock? There are a couple qualifiers. So any good salesman is going to use qualifiers, and that is basically to find out what kind of customer you are. I'm just using sales lingo. I don't sell anything. Like, I have no affiliation with anybody. But in order to recommend something, I just need to know kind of what music you listen to, and kind of what you would like to hear out of your IEM. Like, do you like treble more? Do you like bass more? Do you like hearing the vocals more? Just let me know what your preference is. I really enjoy all your videos. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm trying to make them a little better. It's just hard to find the time. without going to like one video a week schedule. Like I'll have multiple come out in a week, you know, I'll do like daily, like boom, 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 and then I won't have anything for like a week or two, and it's just because I'm kind of burnt out and I just need like me time. But ideally, I would like to be more consistent and I would like to have higher quality videos. But in order for me to do that, I have to kind of invest more time and energy into it. Um, but yeah, as far as like editing and stuff goes, I got all the basics down now. Like I can put video, like overlay video and pictures and stuff, and I could do little jokes with like text bubbles popping up. But yeah, eventually I would like to make the video a little bit cleaner and get rid of the crap like this stupid focus here. It's driving me nuts. So what do the crossovers mainly do? Clean it up, so to speak? Yes, exactly. Yep. So yeah, so the crossovers, how can I explain it? So there's a thing, this is kind of a good term to use, but crosstalk. I don't know if you're familiar with like crosstalk, but it's where certain things overlap that are not supposed to overlap. So like if you have two walkie-talkies and they're both transmitting at different frequencies, but they're kind of messy, so one of them it's like transmitting over the other. Essentially what a crossover does is it cleans up the crosstalk. So now they're both on, you know, one solid frequency and you're not getting interference between the two. And yeah, so but there's other things that they do. So for example, in the AFL Performer 5, the length of tubing, for example, in the dynamic driver is literally so long that if they didn't add inductors into the crossover network, the drivers would play at different times, and they would almost be like a microscopic echo. So it would be like, you know, a few hundred milliseconds. So what they did is they used inductors to slow down some of the other drivers. That way they all kind of hit your ear at the same time. But the reason why they're using longer pipe or longer tubing on some of the drivers is to essentially kind of like filter out certain frequencies. And it's just it's an acoustic principle or whatever. You can do it all with crossovers, but then you introduce all kinds of different like issues and stuff, and you have to be like a real electrical engineer whiz to get some of the stuff down, like to tune an IEM strictly with crossovers, like without using any passive tuning methods. You would have to have like a ridiculous crossover, and it would be super complex. How many campers did I get for breaking apart? So I bought 3 for taking apart, and that's the 1DD, the 1+1, and the 1+2. And then I bought 3 for myself, so the 1DD, the 1+1, and the 1+2. And then I bought the 1DD plus 1 plus, whatever it is, the metal one. And that's just because I wanted to hear that one again. I kind of destroyed the shells from the last one, and I wanted to see if it was the same dynamic drivers as all the other ones. But yeah, I bought a few, and that's just so I have drivers, because everybody really likes the heart mirror driver, and I figured, hey, like, it can't hurt to have a bunch of good drivers laying around. I can use them in my IEMs. Like this, literally, me taking these apart, okay? It sounds retarded, but me, oh, not those. The, where is it? Anyway, the camper IEMs, me taking them apart is literally cheaper than me going on AliExpress and buying like the wood for the faceplates, or buying the BA from a manufacturer, or buying like the dynamic drivers themselves. Like it's literally less money for me just to buy the IEMs on Amazon than it is for me to buy all this individual crap all together. Like I get a case, I get ear tips, I get a cable, like, you know, and I get the drivers that I want, and I get wires, and I get connectors, and I get face plates, and I get all that stuff. And to me, I see it as something I can repurpose. So that's basically what that's for. It's really interesting. Do you have any background in audio engineering, electrical engineering? Yes, I do. I have, none of it is formal education. So a little bit about myself. I was homeschooled ever since third grade. So I've had a lot of time to myself. I started taking stuff apart at like the age of 8, and I was always super nerdy, like nerdy. Uh, so I spent about 15 years in the audio industry, and that covers all aspects of it. I did broadcast, I did studio engineering, I did live reinforcement, like front of house. Not really monitoring, but I did like I was a grip or like a stage hand, setting up, tearing down after each artist. Um, Front of house is basically the guy that sits in the auditorium and like mixes all the channels and all that, and basically makes the sound that you hear as a patron. If you're going to like a concert or whatever. So I did that for many years. I did a little bit of like consulting for like churches and stuff, like helping them set up their systems and whatnot. I worked in sales in pro audio at Sam Ash for a little while. Um, what else? Yeah, just a bunch of stuff. I mean, I made music for a little while. I recorded a few like local artists and whatnot. I've worked for a few production companies, like think at least 3 production companies. But yeah, and then the electrical side of it is just the whole self-taught aspect. I would eventually like to buy some books on electrical engineering. I actually have a really cool book that I bought that I want to share with you guys. It's called Open Circuits. It's on Amazon. Dude, you got, oh, if you like seeing stuff like taken apart and you like to see inside stuff, you're gonna love this book. It's like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my God, I have to get this book. But yeah, check it out. It's called Open Circuits. So just like Google Open Circuits book. It's amazing. I bought the hardcover off Amazon for 38 bucks, and it should be here in like 2 weeks. But it's basically like every component taken apart. You can see inside every single like little electrical component, and they explain how everything works, like what all the functions are. It's really cool. Let's see. Zeus Pantera, nice name. How can I fix my damaged Anole V14 shell? So you would have to start. It depends on how bad the damage is. If it's just a little crack, you can get like some of this stuff, like this glass finish gel, and or you can get the where is it? I can actually put a link up sometime. Oh shoot! So I'm trying to find it, and I don't see it anywhere. Anyway, there's it's lacquer, or go to your local hobby store. Like if you have a Hobby Lobby near you, and you can pick up like model making lacquer, like it's specifically for model making, and you can just brush some of it on the shell, and that will basically fix it. There's a dent. So there's a dent in your V14. Is the dent like a hole? Can you like see inside it, or is it just kind of like visible in the light? Like, do you need to add something to keep like the same color, or can you just put like some clear stuff over it just to make it flush? I have Camper 1 and Hexa coming, so looking forward to hearing those. Cool. Yeah, I hate to say it because I know it's going against the grain. Hexa didn't do it for me, and I'm actually kind of sad that I didn't like it. I really liked the Truth Air Zero. Like, I really liked it. It took me a while to warm up to it because it's got a very cold presentation, and vocals are just kind of like off in the distance. Um, and that's just a part of the tuning. But I just loved everything about it. Like, the tuning was great. The imaging seemed great. I So a lot of people don't like head stage. You know, when you have the image, like, or the vocalist coming from like the center of your head. But I like that stuff. I like it when the imaging is in my head, and when I hear things like kind of jut out to the sides. Like, to me, hearing it in my head is proper imaging. I don't want to hear it like in front of me, like forward. But that's like completely backwards to like most people. So I could see why some people wouldn't like that. But yeah, Hexa's, I'll tell you right now. So Hexa's strength is its tuning. So it's got good tuning. Its weakness is coherency or coherence. It's got poor coherence, and it has poor timbre in the treble because of the BA. And it's not very resolving, and that's about it. But the tuning's good, the bass is decent, the treble's not bad. If you listen to it for a little while and you get that kind of brain burn, like, you're gonna enjoy it. But the problem is when you switch to another IEM that is more coherent, you're gonna start to hear the inconsistencies within Hexa. That's the one reason why I actually preferred the HM20 to Hexa, is because the HM20, even though it's not a coherent IEM, its phase relationships between the drivers is such that it benefits the layering, so like the distance between instruments and stuff, and it just sounds really cool. Like, it sounds awesome. The tuning's not that great, but it just has that like special factor to it that really really made me go wow. But yeah, Hexa doesn't really have that, and it's just the mismatch between drivers is something funny going on. It's like it's like blurry and like not very defined in the mids. Does cyanoacrylate and sodium bicarbonate work for repairing 3D printed shells? No. Cyanoacrylate does not work with resin, with plastic resin. It might work with some of them. I guess it just depends on the resin, but I've had issues with cyanoacrylate and resin. It works with like ABS and those kinds of plastics, but it doesn't work well with like 3D printed stuff. What I would recommend is that you go out and get like a cheap bottle of resin from Amazon. So this stuff is amazing. Like, seriously, I don't know why I forgot about this and went so long without using it, but I bought this a long time ago when I built my first IEM, and I ran out of it, and I bought all these other IEMs all these other resins looking for a good resin. Like, I went through so many, and they would either bubble, crack, yellow, like, just all kinds of crap. This stuff is crystal clear. It's beautiful. The only thing is it's not the strongest, but it's great for IEMs. Like, it's really really good stuff, and it's cheap. It's like 11 bucks for a bottle this big. So yeah, so this stuff is my backup, like my go-to when I'm not using agar resin, because I do have agar resin too, but agar resin is not 415 nanometer UV. It's 365, so I need a special light to use it. Crazy value indeed. What? Sorry, crazy value. Very interesting. Do you have any? I'm sorry, OT9, OT7. What's a crazy value? Oh, the camper, the one. Is that what you're talking about? Easily the high heaviest ion. Yeah, Dude, I love your name so much, the Jean-Claude Van Dabs. That's such a funny name, dude. Yeah, that is like a beast of an IEM. Like you could chuck it at someone and give them a concussion, or like fucking break your window with that IEM. Like it's built like a brick shithouse, but it's just not very good sounding, unfortunately. I really wish it sounded better, but I forgot what kind of driver it had in it, so I figured I'd get another one. There's a dent. Yeah. So yeah, Gallon, you got the one when the hexa come in. Let's see, crazy value in D. Okay, best driver value is probably the TRN X7s destroyed. They were like 30 in each or something. Yeah, that was the first IM that I took apart on YouTube because I hated it. I still have the box sitting like front and center in my room. It's like the funniest thing. I'll actually let me show you guys real quick. Oh, you guys are gonna get a kick out of this. Okay, so all right, so this is where the box wall starts. So I got my HE400s, Tape Pro. I got two of my MoFastest Trios, C2, 8er-lot M5. What is that? The PR1 Hi-Fi, the Lark. Then I got the Camper, the 1DD plus 1 or 1 plus over there. That was the one that I bought like a long time ago. What is it? The CXS. I got Porks, CCA, something or other, Shozy, that had a bunch. But yeah, I got the X7 sitting like front and center so I can remember how shitty it sounded. But yeah, I got my Legacy 3 box. These are like multiple layers deep too, by the way. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I have like so many boxes, just all nothing but boxes here. Timmy asked me if I wanted to be a part of his end of year video or whatever, and I really just didn't have the time. But anyway, I was gonna film a piece and I was gonna film it with those boxes behind me. But yeah, I just didn't have the time. Let's see. Former owner said they dropped it. Hot curve. There's a hole, I think. Yeah, if there's a hole in it, you have to be careful because the resin will drip into the hole. So it depends on the size of the hole. Zeus, if you are on my Facebook page or if you're a friend of mine, drop me like a message with a picture in it, or hit me up on Facebook and let me see what the hole, like the size of it is, and I'll tell you the easiest way to fix it up without risking any damage. Because I still have my I haven't listened to them in a while, but I have my VXs here, and I love these things. I'm so happy that I got them for $650. Seriously, $650, and I even have 2 cables for them. But yeah, I love them. Real audio reviews. Happy New Year's. Any thoughts on Sony and Symphonium BAs? I've never heard of Symphonium. I don't know if you're the first person who has mentioned them. Up until now, my only awareness has been of Knowles, Belzing, E-Audio, A-Audio, Sony, and I think that's it. Those are the only ones, but I've never heard of Symphonium. If that's like a brand, I'll check them out, because that seems pretty interesting. I'm just now getting like connecting with distributors in the U.S. So I'm talking to the people at XMEMS. If you guys want to look it up, there's a company called XMEMS, so it's XMEMS, and they do like piezoelectric microchip, like microscopic MEMS drivers, like really ones. Oh, hey, what's going on, Kupkaya? How you doing, man? Happy New Year to you too. But yeah, so the XMEMS drivers, apparently they need like a wicked amount of voltage to drive them, but they have amplifiers that come with them that you can get for them. And I'm talking to the distributor right now, and I guess he's going to CES, but with the new year and everything, it's been crazy, and I actually missed one of his emails. I feel really bad because the gentleman emailed me, and I didn't see it for like 5 days, and then it like came up. But anyway, I wanna try to play around with those and incorporate those into IEMs. The campers. What else we got? Mario. So what IEM would you have chosen for Timmy? Oh, that's a good question. Oh boy. I would say if there's one IEM that I would live with for the rest of my life, or that I could live with for the rest of my life, and this is just going off of memory, and I haven't heard it in a long time, but I would say the IEM that I could live with for the rest of my life would be the audio clairvoyance. Timmy sent me, that was part of the first batch of IEMs that he sent me to borrow. He sent me what is it, the C audio, what the hell is it called? The C audio IM. He sent me the Blessing 2 Dusk, because I already had the Blessing 2, and then he also sent me the clairvoyance. Yeah, Yume, that's what it is. Yume, thank you. But yeah, and the clairvoyance, man, it just, that IM like rocked my world. At the time, I had the Mo Fastest Trio, and that didn't hold a candle to the clairvoyance. Let's see, both the Gimlet and Camper 1.1 here in the Philippines instead of Dunu Tightness feels like worth it. Sweet, cool. Hopefully you like them. The Gimlet's pretty good, man. I didn't have too much part of that, so this is the Gimlet shell. I helped him out a little bit. Oh yeah, I know, man. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know if TRN is if they're hard to work with or easy to work with. I know companies, ever since like people have started doing collaborations, companies have been much more receptive to feedback from the community. Like Canera, when I talk to Canera, like they listen. Like I've told them all my thoughts on the IEMs, and they've pretty much everything that I've told them, they've like actually taken into consideration. And but we also agree on a lot of stuff. But yeah, so they've been killing it lately. But yeah, they sent me, I have two pairs of these because the first set that they sent me, I did not like the driver. The tuning was just too dark. And then they sent me one with an updated driver, and it was actually really good. So I gave them my blessing. A lot of messages now. Doing fine, unfortunately. Sorry you have to work today. Glad to see you while on duty. Nice, yeah, it's good to see you too, man. Sorry, I'm getting a few messages, so I'm just trying to make sure I don't miss any. Don't they make their own BAs? Gene, I think I heard that, unless you which ones they are. Yeah, I don't know if Symphonium makes their own BAs. This is the first time I've ever heard of them. I'm planning to give new life to my old blonde BL03, and I'm wondering on which 10mm driver I would put in there. I mean, do they fit you okay? Because like, if they're, I just don't. The Blonde 03, the shell is just not a very good shell. I mean, you have to really finesse it to like get that perfect seal. But if you already have it, like, hey, yeah, there are quite a few drivers you could throw in there. Shoot, I would probably even throw the heart mirror driver in there just to see what that sounds like. Yeah, yeah. See, Kupakaya just said it. He would throw OG heart mirror on blonde No 3 shell. I literally just saying the same thing. I would do that. That would actually probably sound really good. Um, Symphonium Helios. Yeah, companies are definitely more receptive now for sure. Especially like KZ, they were still a little stubborn around the AS16 days, and I think they still are a little stubborn. They keep releasing all these like V-shaped tuned IEMs when everybody's like screaming at them to do a more adult like DF neutral kind of tuning or just tone down the V shape. But I guess they sell a lot of IEMs to keep doing the whole V thing, but it's just getting a bit old. Uh, see, they have free shipping here. Who has free shipping there in the Philippines? Amazon or another company? X7 is so bad that cringe review unit didn't even come with the cable. Yeah, I remember that. That was so funny. Oh my goodness. I remember watching that video because he just like was pulling all kinds of stuff out of the bag. It was either a bag or he had like a box sitting around. And yeah, they don't even bother. Yeah, that sounds like TRN, unfortunately. They got some, I mean, TRN, they got some cool stuff, man. Like I like some of their gear. Um, but their tuning is is really like bright, really mid forward. Um, the one that I really want to try, I don't know if you had any hand with it, but is the ST5. A lot of people said really good things about it, and I was actually really tempted to get one, but I wasn't sure if I should throw down the money on it or not. Um, I want to try it because I want to like TRN IEMs, but yeah, when I saw the Jean Wu, I thought maybe it would be a cool IEM. Yeah, like everybody says. Yeah, the TA, oh, TA1 Max. I don't know about the TA1 Max. I took apart. Oh, sorry, I lost connection there. Um, I had the TA1 and I had the TA2, and and they were okay. They were pretty decent. I heard the TA. I don't know if it's the TA1 Max. If um if that's one I've heard. See, ST5, skip it. Okay. Yeah, I'll skip it then. Um, if there, Kupakaya, if there's any TRN IEM that you would consider getting, which one would you say is like the best TRN IEM to check out? Like sub $80 or like sub $100. Is the X7 deeper than the camper? No, the X7 is shallow. The X7 is where is it? Sorry, I'll show you what the X7 is like. The X7 is very similar to this design right here. It's almost identical shell design. So you got that, and then you have the camper, which is like a big beefy boy. Like look how much bigger that is. That thing is massive. And the nozzle is like really straight. So yeah, it sticks out a lot. But yeah, just that width, man. Like that's a big boy. That's a big boy right there. Do, 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 do. There it is. Subtonic makes the BA woofer, huh? Subtonic. It's regular 3D print resin that can be used on IEM shell. Oh, yes, yeah, you can use 3D printed resin on IEM shells, but it's very risky. Um, it's it's much more toxic on your skin. And it's very thin, so it's extremely hard to get it to go where you want it to and stay there. It likes to run all over the place. So I would not recommend 3D printer resin for an IEM unless you have like a syringe and you don't get any on your skin. That's how my hands are screwed up because I got resin on them. And so now I'm obviously more careful, but yeah, so just be careful with 3D printer resin. It runs all over the place. Voice hype does not perform good. I mean, I don't know if it doesn't perform good. I think it's just the tuning. I think the tuning is probably just a little too much V. Like, I was watching Wasabi Paul's video, and he was talking about the Jianwu, and it just seemed like maybe it had a little too much bass and a little too much treble, and they might maybe needed to tone it down a little bit. Happy New Year, Samuel. Yes, I see there. What resin did 3D printed IEM shell? I'm not sure. I mean, you can use any 3D printer resin for IEM shell. It doesn't matter, and the reason why is because once it cures, it's not going to outgas. Like, it's not toxic really anymore. It's not necessarily skin safe, but the lacquer is. And so once the resin is cured, you go over it with the skin safe lacquer, and that's because the lacquer is what actually contacts your ear. So if as long as you don't have the raw resin like touching your ear, you should be okay. But obviously, you'll know if it's bad because if you have any kind of reaction to it, like if your skin has a reaction, then you know not to use it. But yeah, I would just get any 3D printer resin. You know, maybe get the water washable stuff that so it's not like you don't have to deal with a bunch of alcohol and whatnot. It's so much easier to clean. I think 3D resins are methyl acrylate based. Yeah, I'm not sure. I have well, I had a bottle next to my foot here, but I don't have it anymore. It's off to the side. It's out of reach. V20 was good. Okay. Nice. I will definitely pick up the V20 then. I was looking at the V20. I gotta stop playing with those tweezers. Yeah, because the V20 is kind of an oldie, but from what I remember hearing people talk about, like it was really good, and it kind of launched that whole thing with the V80 and the V90, V30, all that. I don't know if the V20 came first. I assumed the V20 came first, and then the other ones came first. Yeah, Happy New Year to you too. Thank you very much. Appreciate you for stopping by. I'll see you some other times. Are you Larry? Come on, man. You don't know it's Larry? That's Larry. That's the big dog. Again, Larry's been at it for a while, man. He's been in the game way before I ever started. TLDR, Paul's video was by Gamiho, yeah. Yeah, he was like, yeah, just might as well. I mean, the price difference is like 20, like anywhere from like $17 to like $20. So yeah, I mean, and you get like that way nicer cable. Like you don't get that trash that they send with the John Woo. Where is it? This This cable here, man, this stuff frustrates me. Like, the braid's nice and everything, but holy hell, like, all of this is from the chin split up. Like, whose head is that big? Like, nobody's head is that big. Maybe it's just less time consuming to make the cables if they don't have to make the weave as long because it's machine made. But like, seriously? Like, I don't know. And then these hooks here, man, these hooks, like, they're springy, but they're hard. And that's the problem. They're really stiff. And they're big. Like, you could realistically cut the ear hook off at that right there. Tighten them up a little bit like that. And you would have a nice ear hook. Has the square planar driver ended up in anything else yet? No, not that I'm aware of. Oh yeah, no, yeah, it has. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's been in. They're not like brand names. They're like off brand, like sub brands or whatever that you haven't heard of before. There's one IEM that people have been talking about that I thought about picking up that has one square planar, and then it has like 4 BAs in it, or like 5 BAs. But really, at that point, you might as well just get a hybrid, like because the driver is not doing anything. Okay, so the best IEM, if you guys want to know, the best IEM to get that gives you the square driver representation, like if you want to know what the driver sounds like and just the driver, is the Pandemon or the Pandemon or Pandemon from Celeste. That's the one to get. Get that driver and you'll know everything you need to know about the square driver, because that is all it has. It's literally just the square driver, and that's it. On cheapos for flare more than anything? No, they were used for marketing, but I don't think they're used on cheapos for flare. I mean, maybe they're just not technical enough to be used in more higher end IEMs. But I don't know. Speaking of square driver, I'm just gonna say screw it. I'm gonna take this thing apart. But yeah, anybody that wants to know like the sheer capabilities of these drivers, get the Pandemon, and you'll know exactly what they are. But yeah, so there's, like I said, so far there are 2 revisions of this driver, but a little birdie told me that there might be another one coming out. So like a version 3, and that one will probably be much better. For $24, is the X7 even worth it? No, dude. No, the X7 is not worth it. Not for $20. Not for 10. Okay, maybe $10. It's really bad. It's really bad. It could have been a good IM, and I believe Larry when he said that they didn't take his advice, like, and it could have been different. Oh my God! Open up. Open up, you biznatch. But yeah, the X7, I would not spend $20 for it. I retuned that one, and I made it sound better, but it required a bit of dampening and a little crossover work with the mid BA. The whole problem is centered around the mids. Are the BAs even salvageable? Not really, no. The reason why they're not is because they're like completely potted in resin, and it makes it like almost impossible to salvage the BAs without causing some sort of damage to them. It would be like if I were to take this 8er lot M5 apart. Like I would have to use these, and I would have to cut away at the resin and cut it, you know, off of the BAs. And every time I do that, it induces shock or vibration into the BAs. And every little shock, they degrade and they get worse and worse. That is the #1 killer of BAs, is shock damage. So yeah, I would not. Yeah, it's basically it's kind of like e-waste. I mean, and it's a shame because the packaging is really nice. The IEMs themselves are gorgeous. Like they're really cool looking, and like the cable's decent. You know, it comes with a bunch of different tips. Like it's not a bad IEM. You know, it's, as far as like, you know, the presentation goes and all the accessories and stuff, like it's not bad. But now I think they did pare it down, and they made it cheaper for the sale version. I don't think they're selling all the original accessories for that sale price. I think they took a lot of that stuff away, and it's strictly just the IEMs, a cheap cable, and like a couple pairs of tips. Because they're losing money on it at that rate. Or if they're not losing money, they're very close to margin for the $24. At this rate, they're just trying to get rid of them, honestly. Oh, damn. Damn fuckers. Yep. It's okay. So, yep. Alright, it's the same driver, but it's backwards. So when you're listening to the front of the driver, you're actually listening to the back of the driver. How crazy is that? And the front of the driver is playing out the back. You guys see that? Isn't that nuts? Okay, I'll break it down for you a little more. So there is like a what is it? Not Mylar. What is it? Polypropylene, or not polypropylene? It's some sort of material. Anyway, and it's covering the face of the diaphragm. Well, in the other one, in the OG, or the first one that came out, they changed it up. And let me see if I can release it without screwing it up too bad. Alright. Does it even have 4 magnets? Wait. Okay, it does. Okay. So at least it still has 4 magnets. Come on. Alright. So here we go. So let's compare the two. Oh, you turd. You gonna play nice? Okay, so I can already observe a few things off the bat. And I'm not sure. I'll need to get something to detect the magnetism. But firstly, we have smaller magnets on the OG, but they look like higher quality magnets. These are cheaper magnets, okay? They're not as good, but they're using bigger ones. So maybe they realized they didn't need to use the magnets that were more powerful. These are like an N52, and these are like an N50 kind of thing. Okay. So anyway, but yeah. So this is the one that's in the Gumiho, and the Gumiho and the Pandamon, and then, well, kind of in the Pandamon, different diaphragm, but anyway, and then this is the one out of the TRN. So they both have 4 magnets. They both have the same thing where the poles are flipped on the one side and the other. But the difference is the one in the TRN is firing this direction, right? No. Sorry. This one's firing this direction, and that one's firing the opposite direction. So this one's firing out the front, and this one's firing out the back. So this is the back right there. And then another thing is the TRN diaphragm is firing through this this mylar coating or whatever this is, whereas the coil on the other one is attached to the mylar coating, and I don't think there is a, or maybe it is, maybe it's just clear. I thought I was pretty sure that the coating was on top. Let me just double check. I want to make sure I'm right before I go saying something. Yeah, it appears to be the coating's on top. Or underneath, I mean. Okay, yeah, so I'm right. Okay. So when what you're hearing, when you're hearing the driver, you're actually hearing this like this metal kind of composite plate here. When you're listening to the like the Gamiho and stuff, you're actually hearing that. In the TRN, you have this this like soft kind of polyurethane or like some sort of material that's on top of it that you're hearing through. That is really weird, man. I wonder what the response is. But they are like designed completely different, like totally backwards from one another. And you can see that they pared the cost down a little bit because they're using the cheaper magnets. They're way larger, like they're fat ass magnets. It looks like the one on the opposite edge. No, it's still, yeah, it's still higher quality on the Gamiho. It's lower quality on the TRN. So, interesting. Larry left the chat. He's not in here anymore. Sorry. He said that he had to go, I guess, for work or whatever. But, yeah, I'm going to look at the Gallon. I'm going to look at the V22. I'm curious to see how it is. It's a nice looking IEM too. I mean, I've seen it a few times and I wanted to pick it up. So, but yeah. Dude, you'll trip opening up a Symphonium. I bet, man. I mean, some of these like expensive IEMs are crazy. Crossover is shaped like a number. What do you mean, like a number 8 or like a number 7 or something, or like an actual number? Oh, really? So it's like see-through, so you can see the crossover like through the outside or whatever, the outside of the IEM. Dexy. Yeah. Yeah, I actually filmed one when I was repairing the Eiffel Performer 5, but I accidentally deleted it off my phone. And so I was a dumbass and I wasn't able to share it with you guys. But yeah, I will make one repairing them. I don't know if you can tell which one was repaired or not. You can kind of see it when you look at the side here. I haven't sanded it or anything, but yeah. Doesn't look the greatest, but it's not bad. Just needs to be sanded and gone over with some resin. Happy New Year! Happy New Year! Yep. You're welcome, man. Have a good one. Alright, guys. If you don't have any other questions, I'm gonna go. If you want to get your questions in, I'll stick around for like 2 more minutes. I don't know if there's anything you want to ask me, but next time you see me, I'll probably be taking these guys apart. I've already compared them to the C2. I have not compared them to the T2 DLC yet. So, favorite IEM? It's a toss-up. Like in any price range, because it really depends. Because the favorite IEM that I have right now are the VX. They're my favorite that I own right now, but they're also like way more expensive than any of the other ones I own. AGMG. So what? Aluminum and magnesium? Is that what that is? I want to see how thick the aluminum magnesium shell is. Oh, dude, I already destroyed the camper, the deep blue. I'll show you the shell. I'll take the faceplate off. I'll let you see how thick that is. I mean, it's thick, boy. It's thick. I put 6mm drivers in the deep blue, and they were 6mm liquid silicone drivers, and they sounded really good, but not the greatest in the camper deep blue shells. Yeah, at any price, yeah, be that, or probably the Mest Mark II. It's not, I don't know. It's the Mest Mark II sounds good, but it's a little incoherent, so maybe not. Maybe it'd be something else. Is the C3 pretty close to the T3 Plus? A lot of people have been asking me, but I have not tried the T3 Plus. I wanted to get it for a little while, but then when I saw the C3 come out, and it was cheaper, I was just like, yeah, I'm not gonna deal with it. It's the T3 Plus has been out for long enough, and the common consensus pretty much is the tuning's good, but the performance or the technicalities. Sorry, the technicalities are just not there. There's an ant on my. Oh yeah, it's like a little. I don't know how to explain it. What these little bugs are? They're like little sugar ants or something that fly around. Oh, you can't see them. There's this little dude right here. But yeah, I see them from time to time. They'll be like one of, and they always like my desk. I don't know why. Shoo, dude. Go. Be gone. Alright, guys. I'm going to get. I think I'll catch you guys later. There's nothing else really that I can think of to talk about right now. But if I have any updates, I'll go live again and I'll. No, it's not a gnat. That's not a gnat. Is that a gnat? No, it looks like an ant, dude. It looks like a flying ant. Are you kidding me? I've seen gnats before, and that ain't no gnat that I've seen. I don't know, maybe it is. Google gnat. Okay. Huh. Yeah, I don't know, dude. There's all kinds of like, it's hard to explain, but I have like my windows all plugged up weird and stuff, and like I have soundproofing and whatnot. But for whatever reason, these stupid bugs, dude, they like come in through the cracks of my windows, and I have it like sealed up and stuff, but they like tunnel their way all the way through, and they get in here somehow. And we have like lots of animals, so they find their way around. But anyway, I will catch you guys later. Oh, real quick. This is the last thing I wanted to say. Sorry. I was gonna mention this. This is the Bluetooth mod for the TK2. it's still a little ghetto. I need to finish it. Ignore the sloppy wiring. But yeah, so I'm gonna get on to finishing this up. I took it apart because I need to make a custom faceplate for the TK2. So I was taking the knob off and stuff and taking it apart because I'm gonna make a resin faceplate because the old one is glass and it does not work very well with the radio antenna. So, but yeah, and if you guys want, someday I'll make a video talking more about I squared S or I2S and like basically adding Bluetooth to different amplifiers and stuff, or like different DACs. I think you guys might enjoy that. But anyway, that being said, yeah, I'll make a video about it. I definitely will. I'll see if I can wrap it up this week, and then I'll make a video of it and I'll show you guys. But yeah, it's awesome. What's the op amp there? It's a OPA. Oh goodness, 16. What is it? That's the TPA. So the amplifier chip itself is the TPA 1620. The op amps are Burr Brown. Goodness. BB OPA 2132UK. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I assume the BB stands for Burr Brown. But yeah, it's actually a very well engineered piece of kit. The TK2 is like one of my favorite amplifiers. And I have a little I'm sad because I broke the glass on it. But I have the Little Bear B4. It's really dusty, I'm sorry, but I have the Little Bear B4X, and I would really like to add Bluetooth to this little guy and make it like a Bluetooth fully wireless, tube amp. But yeah, I think that'd be kind of cool. I love this thing, by the way. I don't use it very much. I wish I would use it more. But yeah, I really like the Little Bear. These are hit or miss. Some of them are not very good, and some of them are very good. So, but yeah. As far as the op amps in these go, these are NE. What is that? I can't read it. 54A66 something. NE 5532P. I don't know. I'm not a big op amp guy. OPA 2132 is a next gen op amp released in 2004. Yeah, it does look like a Zishan amp or Zishan. I don't know how you pronounce it. I'll tell you what, it's built very well. It's very durable, but it's not. I don't know if it's the components they're using. I think some of these components are just like new old stock, and they've been sitting around for a while, because this is actually the second one that I've owned. The first one had this weird issue with noise where it had this squealing sound, and it went like up and down, and then it'd go back up again, so it'd be like and then it would go and it would do that like really slowly. So I returned it, and then I got another one, and this one is good. So $5 bulk part from TI. Yeah, I'm sure. Was it really released in 1979? Holy cow. 1979. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. These are like, I think these are like, yeah, most op amps. Yeah, because that's when that whole like transistorized logic and stuff like that was becoming popular. I mean, the 70s, that's when you had home like kit computers and stuff. People were building their own computers. What do they call mini computers? It's like before the whole microcomputer era. You had mini computers. So yeah, that's a fascinating era, man. I'm real big into that kind of stuff. but yeah, so we'll dive a little bit deeper into some of that electronicals later. My knowledge is pretty limited when it comes to that, but I know enough to get myself in trouble, and I know enough about like clock lines and data lines and stuff to break something. So yeah, that's when op amps started out performing class A's. Yeah, yeah, for sure. And by the 70s, that's when shoot valve state technology was like really on its way out. I mean, the 80s is when everything was strictly solid state. So, yeah, man, you're welcome. Happy New Year to you. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. It was fun chatting with you for a little while. Next time I do a stream, I'll try to think of like a theme or something to it. Maybe make it a little more engaging or whatnot. But yeah, I was bored. I didn't really have anything to do, so I figured it'd be fun to talk to you guys for a little bit and take some stuff apart in the meantime. So, alien tech, yeah, man. But you know what? Valve state technology is beautiful. I love it. I love valves. I love tube amps. I watch so many like tube restoration channels and stuff where they go over old TVs and stuff like Shango 66 or whatever. The Guitarologist and stuff. Man, I watch so many channels of those. I watch all the like 80s computing channels and whatnot where they go over like a computer that's got like 4 kilobytes of RAM. But anyway, all right, guys. I'll catch you later. You guys have a good night, and I will see you on the flip side. Oh man. See ya.